evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today, it's Sunday Funday, and we're trying something new, a new game show we're going to be doing, and that is speed booking. Basically, for the first 10 minutes of this show, our two contestants are going to draft their rosters. Then from that, and they can't pick the same people, they're going to have to book a wrestling card, and there will only be a 2-minute intermission for them to try and put something together. It is going to be extremely exciting. Hopefully it will be fun, and then you guys in the comments can let us know whose card you guys think is the best. It's going to be really exciting. I'm honestly excited for this podcast. I'm saying excited a lot, but that shows how excited I am. And Josh in the comments over on YouTube has spoiled the two contestants for today. David versus Coby. This is about to get hostile, and indeed it is. So without further ado, let me introduce the AEW reviewer for Wrestling Republic, David Sheldon. How are you, David?
Hello, everybody. I am very, 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 very excited for this. This is my wheelhouse. For anyone who doesn't know, and most people won't because it's not really a thing with the channel, but for several years I've created my own booking companies and fantasy booked stuff on Discords and various other bits and things that we've done. So I am so excited. This should be in my wheelhouse. This should be in my game. But we'll see how we go. I'm very, very excited, and I have a very worthy opponent in Mr. Galenzoski. So let's bring in the challenger.
Absolutely. I mean, I've got two of our reviewers here at Wrestling Republic. Usually they're critiquing shows. This time they're booking their own. How are you, Coby?
I mean, I'm doing pretty good, and of course, I'm surprised you didn't put yourself over, Ben, by saying it was your idea. But obviously, I am the one who said, let's go in this direction. I make things happen. And I said, let's do this type of thing. Knowing who was on the show a week ago, I said, oh, this is perfect for me and David. And of course, you were set to be involved, but now you're the host, Ben. And of course, it's always a pleasure to be here. Of course, I've been involved with booking. I have done universe modes for the YouTube. I've done all that as well. It's not something I'm afraid to say I've done. I'm excited, of course. But you also said Josh spoiled who's on it. You also spoiled who's on it with the title, too.
I did. I was just burying Josh for a second, Coby. But shout out to Josh in the comments. Also, shout out to Bobby Petito as well, and Anthony Manzano too. It's going to be a really fun show today, guys. But to decide who gets the first pick, right, before we go into the rules, which we will go into in just a second, I have got a coin. In fact, I have got a Great British pound, right? What I believe is the greatest currency in the world. Sounding like a true Englishman there. But I'm going to do the world's worst coin toss, right? Coby, I've decided you're going to have heads. David, you're going to have tails. And then whoever wins will get first option. I'm calling it. I'm calling it right now. Okay, guys, let's do this. That didn't spin at all. There we are. It is tails. So, David, you get to choose. Do you want to draft first, or do you want to draft second? And it also mean you can get to have a little bit more time to book your card. Which one are you going to go for?
I will draft first, please.
There we are. David is first. Coby is second. Anthony Manzano says, panel, before you start, I have a question for you guys. Are you panicking like most fans were that the WWID program is going to ruin independent wrestling? Well, yes. You know what, Anthony Manzano? Yeah, pretty much we are. But we will talk about that a little bit later on. I'll talk about it in the intermission. How about that? But now, from here, let me explain the rules. Each contestant will have 12 draft picks. You can only draft wrestlers who aren't officially retired. Bryan Danielson is not officially retired, so he counts. Tag teams can be chosen as one pick as long as they are currently regularly teaming together. As far as the booking goes, you will have 2 minutes to make their cards. Meanwhile, I'll baffle on about some sponsors as well as talking about, Anthony, your point, WWID. And then whoever has the first draw pick will go first. So it's a double-edged sword, basically, but we know that's David now. Each contestant will read out one match at a time. There will be a 5-match total. You can use someone more than once, and you don't have to use all 12 of your wrestlers. But without further ado, David, who are you choosing as your first draft pick?
Well, for my first draft pick, there were a couple I could go for here. However, I have picked this man in every single fantasy booking company I have ever made because he is dynamite for this. Spoilers for who I've selected. I've selected MJF as my first pick.
Hell of a pick, a former AEW world champion. But Coby, who are you taking?
Well, that already ruined one of my plans. But of
Wow.
course, that's where this is supposed to go. This is supposed to get ugly. And of course, in original fashion, what we did last week, we ranked every single singles champion. I gotta continue the trend. I gotta go with Gunther as number one.
Ooh.
I gotta go with the ring general. There's no one better at this point in the ring. It's Gunther. It's Gunther.
Absolutely. I say it all the time. It's between him and Will Ospreay as to who is the best right now in between the ropes in the entirety of the professional wrestling business. But what about you, David? Who is going to be your second pick?
He was my number 2. I only didn't pick him first because he was a little bit less replaceable to my booking, or a little bit more replaceable to my booking than MJF was. So for my number 2 booking, I am going to select. Now, I need to do a little bit of housekeeping here just to check, Ben, that I'm allowed to do this. I'm going to draft Mercedes Moné.
Yep, that's completely allowed.
Am I able to draft Camille with her? She's a heavy. She's a heavy. I don't know if they've tagged together. Either way,
they haven't. No, okay, they can't. They don't count.
Then I will just draft Mercedes Moné, please.
Perfect.
I mean, if Camille goes undrafted, you can say Camille manages her or whatever. That's fine.
Yeah,
I guess you could do that.
If she goes undrafted, she can be.
I had no plans to use Camille in a wrestling capacity anyway, so that's fine.
Okay, perfect. What about you, Coby? Are you going to choose Roxanne Perez like Anthony Manzano really wants you to, or do you have other plans?
I do have other plans because I kind of want my main event complete. And I mean, you kind of clarified it and you kind of spoiled it. I mean, unless you look at the last few weeks, he hasn't wrestled. But I mean, this year he is an active wrestler. He won the AEW World Championship. I gotta go with Bryan Danielson. I gotta go with the GOAT. I gotta go with the best pro wrestler of the last 20 years. I gotta go with him. I gotta go.
It's an excellent choice, no doubt about it. And you gave a little bit of insight into your card later on. Bobby Batista would have booked Luke Jacobs and Rio as his first draft picks. They would have been some great choices, no doubt about it. Sean Ellis thinks it's a good thing that WWE's cut house shows down and is only focusing on Raw, SmackDown, and pay-per-view events because they'll sell out all their seats.
They're selling out. They're selling out live events anyway.
That's true. They're selling out both. But David, who will you be drafting third to hopefully sell out your event?
So my third pick is going to be Bailey.
Oh, a hell of a shout. You've got 2 of the 4 horsewomen now. That is interesting. Coby, what about you?
Okay, I mean, obviously you've already taken 2 women, so I gotta start taking a woman myself. I am going with probably the best women's wrestler on the planet today, and I gotta go with Io Sky.
Yes. A hell of a pick, no doubt about it. She delivers every time she's in between those ropes. What about you, David? Who are you taking to respond to that?
I am going to take. I had not planned to draft her now, but I'm going to take her to stop Coby getting her later on. I'm going to draft 2 picks in this. I'm going to draft Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting one. I'm really interested to see where you're going with this. Coby, how are you responding?
I mean, good thing they weren't on my radar. Right now, I'm thinking about it. because he has yet to be taken, I gotta steal Will Ospreay from you, my man. I gotta take Will Ospreay. There's no one, like you said, there's no one better. He's one of the best wrestlers in the world right now, and he's a 4th round pick. I mean, I'm not risking waiting to lose him.
Yep.
That is a great shout. Will Ospreay, one of the best in the world right now. I mean, Coby, you've got Gunther and Will Ospreay, the 2 people who I think are the best in the world right now. But David, who are you taking to kick off round 5?
I was not planning to take Will Ospreay because I kind of resigned myself to losing him. I thought he would have gone in the first few rounds. So I am going to pick, and I'm so sorry, Coby. I don't know if he was on your radar, but I am going to pick your favorite wrestler. My 5th round pick is John Cena.
A great shout, David. We cannot see you, but hopefully the people watching the show can. Coby, what about you? Are you taking in round 6?
I mean, the funniest part is this. I saw the full Simpsons clip that he was a part of last night, and I'm like, why is this a thing? John Cena giving birth, or not giving birth, being the one to deliver a baby.
That's wild.
It's a wild thing, and that's the first thing that popped up when you mentioned Cena. But no, he was not on my radar. Right now, I got to take a potential tag team that I use. I got to go with the current WWE Tag Team Champions. I got to go with Motor City Machine Guns.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting one. Sean Ellis is saying John Cena will retire in 2025. Indeed, he will. Next December will be interesting. Bobby Petito would pick the latest WWE ID signing, Marcus Mathers. Only 21 years of age. A hell of a shout, no doubt about it. But David, who's your next pick?
I will go with, not much build up to this, I will go with Orange Cassidy. Please.
Okay. One of your favorite wrestlers, fair enough. What about you, Coby?
Right now, I am going to go with a man that maybe isn't at his peak anymore. And I mean, there's arguments of people saying he's getting washed, but he's still like, you can't sit there and say he doesn't deliver when he's in the ring. I am going with Seth freaking Rollins.
No way is he part. I'll argue, right, Coby? I'll argue with anybody who says that. So far, David has picked MJF, Mercedes Moné, Bailey, Belair, and Cargill, John Cena, and Orange Cassidy. A great variety. I'm really enjoying that roster. Meanwhile, Coby has gone for Gunther, Bryan Danielson, Io Sky, Will Ospreay, Motor City Machine Guns, and Seth Rollins. Wow, these 2 rosters so far are absolutely stacked. Anthony Manzano would love to see Atlantis Jr. get drafted. Bobby Petito says, shout out Nina Samuels. Shout out to her indeed. She will settle her beef with Kanji later this month at Vendetta 2 in what I'm exciting to see. In a match which I'm excited to see, I should say. But, David, what about you? Who are you taking to kick off round 7?
To kick off round 7, I am going to take Jordan Grace.
Okay. That is a hell of a pick indeed. Coby, what about you?
Okay, well, I mean, I gotta kind of mix not my women's division, but I gotta kind of set that up. And because right now I only have Io Sky, and you're taking a lot of the top talent, which I don't blame you, Mr. Sheldon. Right now, I am going to take Julia. I'm going to take someone who's right now, I think it was confirmed she has the highest selling t-shirt on WWE Shop right now. It's a gorgeous design, because it's the Hanukkah tribute.
Yeah, it's
kind of the cherry blossoms. Yeah. Like, it's a beautiful shirt. And I mean, rightfully so, it's the highest selling shirt, but she's already bringing in numbers for WWE, and it's been 3 months, if that. I mean, hell of a talent.
Honestly, that I didn't even know that stat, Coby. That's brilliant. Of course, like you said, it's a tribute shirt to Hana Kimura. Shout out to Julia. That is absolutely brilliant. David, what about you? Who are you taking next?
So for round 8, I'm going to take the current Intercontinental Champion. I will take Bron Breakker, please.
There we are. Sean Ellis called it. He wanted it, and he has got it. But Coby, who are you taking?
Right now, I am going to take an interesting pick, but it's someone who, I mean, is having a sleeper wrestler of the year. You're putting him against anyone, right? And he's going to deliver. In the last month, a match with Moose, Takeshita, Vikingo. I got to go with Mike Bailey. I got to steal that man. He's so good in every single way. I think he's a bona fide star wherever he goes. If that's AEW soon, if that's WWE soon, I think he is going to reach the highest peak in one of those companies as well. And he can, as an in-ring talent, he's unstoppable.
He absolutely is a brilliant pick. What about you, David? How are you responding to that one?
So for my next pick, I'm looking at who I think of the people I've got left is the most likely to be drafted away from me. I am going to pick as my next selection. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting one. Fair enough. I mean, a unique duo, but they have teamed together recently, so it does count. What about you, Coby?
Right now, and obviously we kind of said factions aren't draftable, but I am going to take part of a faction. I am going to take Claudio Castagnoli and Pac, of course, as a duo, but both they are a part of the Death Riders.
And they've teamed together in tag team wrestling recently as well, so that is fair enough. They are, like you said, part of that faction. There's no free bird rule here, but they are, they're all part of the same thing. But David, what about you? Who are you taking?
So for my next pick, I'm going to take one of my favorite wrestlers in the world, and somebody who I think, while not having some unlucky runs recently, is absolutely someone who should be straight into one of my fancy bookings. I'm going to draft El Hijo del Vikingo.
Oh, a great shout, no doubt about it. I mean, I think we had this in the comments earlier on, that we didn't actually. But that is, I mean, a fantastic shout, no doubt about it. Sean Ellis picks not AOP, as they suck. Fair enough, Sean. Fair enough. Coby, what about you? Who are you taking?
I gotta figure out who I can kind of go with right now, and I am going to steal. I think it's a steal. I am going to take, he's lighting the world on fire with this new kind of gimmick the last month. I'm going to steal Kevin Owens.
Okay, well, that's certainly an interesting one. Something else which is interesting that Bobby Petito points out is nobody's taking Cody Rhodes, and we're in round 10. What's going on here? David, are you taking Cody, or have you got somebody else up your sleeve?
No, I'm not taking Cody. To be honest with you, a lot of the big hitters who I'm looking at that are left, I'm not taking them. I've got my card very set. My next pick is going to be Javon Evans.
Okay, one of the top names in NXT right now. He's very young as well. A lot of potential. Coby, how are you responding?
How am I responding? Right now, I am going to take, I'm going to take Sami Zayn. I'm going to take Sami Zayn.
Okay.
Someone who can sell you. He is one of the most lovable baby faces, and it's phenomenal to see he's reached that status once again. He can get you behind him in a single promo, and that's what you need here.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. David, who are you taking for round 11?
Is this round 11? 3, 6,
you
9.
You put the wrong box.
12. You've got one too many boxes, Ben.
Wrong box. Javon and Sami are in a different round.
I shouldn't have said anything because it should have given me one more person, but I don't need them, so I'm not going to take any more than I need to.
8, 9, 10, 11. You are right. This is the final pick, guys.
And I knew that because I only had one more pick written down.
You guys could have gone away with an extra pick. That is true. I really don't know how I messed that one up. But David, who are you taking as your final pick?
My final pick is the Beast Mortos. Formerly
okay.
formerly Black Taurus.
Black Taurus.
I mean, that is a hell of a pick. I mean, you've got a few of your favorites in there. Motos, Orange Cassidy. Fair enough. Coby, the big question for you is, are you taking Cody Rhodes? Or is he just not being drafted?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very tempted to not let Cody get drafted for the memes, for the jokes. Does that? Oh, yeah, I'll take Sheamus.
Sheamus, wow.
I
Okay.
love the fact no Cody, no Roman, no Moxley, no Swerve, none of them, no Becky,
The comments are gonna hate you guys. That's for sure.
I'm not. Here's
But
the thing: I'm not booking how many big stars can I cram into one wrestling show. I'm booking a wrestling show, with variety. And so
that's a good point.
if you cram every single massive star into one show, you will never fit them in. So
I agree.
I have a very specific plan for the way I want to put this card together, and I've got, with the exception of Gunther, I've got everybody that I wanted. So
I think
happy.
we can all agree as well, right, that when it comes to wrestling shows, when there's a variety of different performers on there, it's a lot more interesting. And one promotion which does that extremely well is Progress Wrestling. Shout out to Progress Wrestling because they have an updated version of their streaming service, Demand Progress Plus, where they have put all their shows that they've ever done all on one streaming service, and that is called Demand Progress Plus. And you guys can use code What'sProgress1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy Wrestling, TNT Extreme Wrestling, and more. Truly, it is so user-friendly. There's 2 times speed on it. It is absolutely exceptional. I will keep putting it over, right? Because Anthony Manzano, earlier today, you had a comment, and let me get it up quickly. You said, are you panicking like most fans about WWID and whether or not it will ruin the independent scene? Listen, it's difficult. It absolutely is difficult, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and say it absolutely going to ruin the independent scene. But yes, if we look at what they did, what TKO did with UFC, there is a fear there. There was a legitimate fear there that WWID could hurt the independent scene. But one way which we can stop that from happening is if fans support independent wrestling. Demand Progress Plus is one way that you can support independent wrestling, and you can use code What'sProgress1 to get 50% off your first month on Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and more. I cannot recommend it enough. And I mean, firstly, actually, I love this comment from D6 Warlord. He says Arsenal equals life. Yes, shout out to Arsenal, no doubt about it. DCX Warlord loves Progress, absolutely. And Bobby Petito loves Progress as well, saying it's always killing it. It truly is. This week, hopefully Wednesday, I've got a video coming out actually talking about Progress Wrestling's latest show and giving a little bit of a recap on that for those of you guys who didn't watch it. It should be a lot of fun, no doubt about it. But now it's time to return to the show. Now it is time to return to the speed booking, right? Because I've given them their 2 minutes. Their 2 minutes are over. So let me quickly go over the rules now from here. Now, whoever has the first draft pick, in this case David, will go first. Each contestant will read out one match at a time, and it will be in order of how the card will be presented, right? So they'll be reading out their main event last and their opener first. Each contestant will read out one match at a time. There'll be 5 matches, 5-match cap, and you can use someone more than once, and you don't have to use all 12 of your wrestlers. Right, let's get straight back into it then, guys, shall we? David, what is going to be your first match?
So, just to clarify before I begin, am I reading one match, then waiting for a response, then reading second match?
Yes.
Or...
So,
okay.
No. It'll go to Coby.
I understand.
After you read
I
one.
understand.
Match
okay.
1, match 1, match 2.
Okay,
match 2,
I understand.
Match 3, match
so
3. Blah, blah.
That's fine. Yeah. If I mention stipulations, does it make any difference?
Yeah, I mean, sure, if you want a stipulation,
fantastic.
go ahead.
Lovely.
Go ahead.
So, my first match is going to be a no-holds-barred opener. No holds barred opener between past and present, it's MJF versus John Cena is my opening match. I would have this be MJF trying to kill the legacy of John Cena once and for all. MJF offended by everything that John Cena stands for, that he cares about wrestling, and then disappears to go and film Hollywood. Of course, the hypocrisy being that MJF is currently doing exactly the same thing. They go back and forth. It is brutal. It is bloody. John Cena bleeds, something that I don't think we've seen happen from Cena in a long time. The finish of the match, after a protracted end sequence, would come after a couple of kickouts and some nice MJF whipping Cena again and again and again. John Cena gets up. MJF does the "you can't see me" and cracks him across the face with a diamond ring. You literally can't, because he's knocked out. MJF wins, and Cena is left laying in a heap of his own blood while MJF kisses Cena's forehead and celebrates above him. That is my opening match.
That is a hell of a match, a hell of a way to open your show. And the "you can't see me" as well. That would be heel heat, no doubt about it. What about you, Coby? What match is kicking off your show?
The match that is kicking off my show is a match that, if I look at it, it's built itself. It's a match that I sat here and we all watched it as wrestling fans start off of Twitter beef. Seth Rollins versus Will Ospreay. A match where, I mean, obviously Seth always kind of joked about Will Ospreay never making it to the big leagues. Obviously, he's one of the top talent in the biggest wrestling promotion, in the second biggest wrestling promotion, AEW. But this is a clash of styles. Seth Rollins worked a lot more like Will Ospreay before. Now he's a lot more technical. He's more psychology based. But that's the thing, Will Ospreay is as well. If you look at Will Ospreay a decade ago, he's a completely different wrestler. Will Ospreay gets it. He is a heck of a talent with his athletic ability, with his psychology. And overall, this is a match built on a match that could have never happened before. And now it is, simply because, I mean, obviously I'm booking it, but it's a clash of styles. Seth Rollins is the veteran. Will Ospreay is the guy who wants to prove to Seth that he belongs. And Will Ospreay gets the win with a Stormbreaker. An original move, might you add, that, and Seth Rollins gives respect after the match.
Yeah, that would be absolutely amazing. In the words of D-Sex Warlord, that would cook. Bobby Petito says it would be a fire match, but Bobby Petito also says MJF versus John Cena would be exciting as well. It absolutely would be. But David, what is your second match?
Well, obviously, following MJF and Cena would be no tall order, but if there's anyone that could do it, it would be the EST. So my second match of the show is Bianca Belair. Close, Ben. Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair taking on Jordynne Grace in a muscle versus muscle wrestling match. This would be a brilliant power encounter. Not a ton of story to this one beyond a battle to see who's better. It's an ego competition. It's a talent-driven competition. And the winner of the match is Bianca, who wins with the by countering Jordynne Grace's finisher up into the KOD for the win. After the match, you can get a little moment of a tension moment, and then a handshake with Jordynne and Bianca before Jade Cargill gets in the ring, and we have a Jade Cargill and Jordynne Grace standoff as well, just to tease something possibly into the future. So yes, muscle versus muscle, and muscle wins. Bianca Belair versus Jordynne Grace.
A hell of a shout, no doubt about it. My head then, when you said EST, went CEO for some reason. I'm getting my three letters mixed up. Coby, what about you? Who's your second pick?
So obviously, like you said, following MJF versus John Cena is a tough task. Same thing here. Following Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay is a tough task as well. And there's two people that I trust to do it well, even if it's a slow start because of the opener being so good. The second match of my night is Pac versus Mike Bailey. A match that has happened before, happened when Pac was making his return to the indie scene. Obviously, that's 6 years ago. Shocking to say, because Pac has had a lot of off time. But it's a match that, I mean, obviously would be different compared to what it was 6 years ago. It's a match of two of the best talent, two of the most athletic talent. And I mean, the absolute near falls and counters that can exist in this match would be able to hook the crowd back into it, back into the action.
Absolutely. Michelle says that would cook. It certainly would. But Bobby says Bianca Belair did eliminate Jordan Grace in the Women's Royal Rumble match before, so he hopes we get the match David wants to happen. Great shout as well. But David, what's your third match?
Flips is my third match. It is a fatal 5-way match between El Hijo del Vikingo versus Javon Evans versus Rey Mysterio versus Dragon Lee versus Beast Mortos. It is all the best. Sorry, Ben, I will explain while you type.
Ray.
It is all of the best luchadors from around the world coming together in a past versus present versus future matchup.
Mortis.
All four of these five
Evans.
guys are four of these guys are face, the only heel in the match being Beast Mortos, who acts as the big anchor to everything because everyone takes turns beating down Beast Mortos until he cuts them off spectacularly. This match would showcase all five guys. I think that, Javon being the only non-Mexican talent in the match adds a little bit of, he has a different style. He's come up a different way. Things with Mysterio being a idol figure to all of them. The finish of the match would be, now bear with me on this, Rey Mysterio hits a 619 to Beast Mortos. Beast Mortos has already taken out Javon Evans and Dragon Lee from the match on his own. Rey Mysterio hits a 619 to Mortos. Mortos stumbles backwards. Then as Rey gets into, does the splash, gets in to get the pin. As the pin is happening, Vikingo hits a 630 onto Rey on top of Mortos, and then pins Mortos for Vikingo to get the ultimate victory here. It is all a big, it's a big, silly wrestling match, which is just flips and insane athleticism. And I don't think, if you want insane athleticism, there's anybody better than these five guys to pull it off. This idea of Vikingo, because I think Vikingo's the best luchador in the world. So I want to show him off with a victory here. Not pinning Rey, because you don't want to pin Rey. So pinning the heel Beast Mortos to get the win instead.
A great show, no doubt about it. HWD suggests perhaps tuning Dragon Lee on Rey. That could be an interesting
It could lead to
one.
something, not in this particular match, but it could lead to some dissension, especially given that Rey was obviously more involved in the match as Dragon was, because Dragon gets himself eaten alive by Beast Mortos within the match.
Absolutely. What about you, Coby? What are you picking?
Okay, what I'm picking is, and of course I made a little bit of interesting choices because I brought in the Death Riders and Claudio and Pac, but Pac's already in his singles match. I am having a little fun tag team wrestling wise. I am gonna go with Claudio Castagnoli reuniting with Sheamus to bring back the Bar to face the Motor City Machine Guns and Kevin and Sammy in a tag team elimination match. 3 teams, one leaves and then another one gets pinned to win. It is just the Bar was one of the best tag teams in the world when they were together. It is a shame there are a lot of dream matches that we never got with them. Kevin and Sammy have the chemistry. They are one of the best. They are one of the best real tag teams in wrestling because of their relationship, because of their friendship. And of course, we all know, and we can all sit here and we'd be sounding like a broken record talking about the Motor City Machine Guns' impact on the business, because it is there. I don't want to say this is a past versus present, but this is 3 tag teams who have all had really good runs and are all all have great chemistry as a tag team. And seeing them in a tag team environment like that, I was a little tempted to go TLC, but I'm not, because I want this to just show how good they are at tag team wrestling, tag team psychology, tag team sequences, all of that. There's first, I do have the Bar losing. Motor City Machine Guns versus Kevin and Sammy go on. Ultimately, with Kevin Owens' heel gimmick, he turns on Sami Zayn. Machine Guns get the win by pinning Sami Zayn to fully win the match.
We don't set the bar, we are the bar, as they used to say. D6 Warlord says that would be a match of the year contender if it actually happened. But David, who are you picking for the next round?
So my match number 4 is going to be the complete clash of styles. It is Bron Breakker versus Orange Cassidy for my 4th match.
Yes.
This plays very much into the Orange Cassidy formula of a really big, really angry man against Orange Cassidy. And the story of this match is Orange Cassidy will not die. Bron Breakker tries everything to put this man down, and Cassidy keeps kicking out and keeps getting back up. And he starts to roll around the ring, and Bron is getting increasingly frustrated. Bron goes for his little spear thing around the ring, and Cassidy just lies down, or sort of ducks, so Bron skies. He can't. Cassidy just moves out of the way. It's just constantly frustrating. Or there's a little bit of comedy in there, and then the serious. Then you get your Cassidy comebacks. It's your Cassidy standard formula. The finish of the match is Bron spears Cassidy. Cassidy kicks out. And then Cassidy sort of rises to his feet as Bron is just apoplectic with rage. And Cassidy puts his hands up and sticks his hands in his pockets. One last act of defiance. Out of pure anger, Bron spears him, then realizes that's probably not going to be enough to kill this man, gets him up and hits him with his father's own Steiner recliner straight on top of his head. Just drills him, cracks straight into the floor for Bron to finally put Cassidy away. Bron Breakker gets the win. But as is with all Orange Cassidy matches, you have a newfound respect for your opponent on the back of him just refusing to give up. I think that will be a very, very entertaining match.
Absolutely. That would be a lot of fun. Very interesting, says Bobby Petito. HWD says they're a new fan. You're welcome. Please subscribe if you haven't already. We really do appreciate it. But they are asking, will there ever be fan interactive booking? That could be interesting. It could very well be, actually. Let's have a think of how we could possibly do that, because that could be very fun indeed. But Coby, what are you picking for round 4?
Well, I'm down to 4 names, if I'm counting. And as much, I am at the point where, I know what my main event is, and I'm sure people do if they know who I have. But my semi-main event is just 2 of the best women's wrestlers in the world. It's Io Sky versus Julia. It's gonna write itself. Obviously this isn't taking place in AEW, but this is for the sickos. This is for the wrestling fans. This is for the people who know what Io Sky is capable of, because she isn't always displaying every single thing she does in WWE, especially on the main roster. Julia is someone who is coming in as the more unknown name, and this is Io Sky making Julia famous. This is a match that can go either way, that would arguably make sense either way. If I'm booking this, I'm making Julia famous. Julia gets the win.
Wow, wow, wow. In the words of Bobby Petito, yes, please, absolutely. But David, it is time for the main event of the evening. What are you picking for your main event?
So my main event matchup, 10 years on from the last time for the first time this match happened back in NXT. One more time, Mercedes Moné versus Bayley. Obviously, this was a huge NXT rivalry that spilled into the main roster. They are both in very different parts of their career now. So this is seen as, this is the new Mercedes Moné, flanked by Camille in a managerial capacity. And Bayley at a 2-on-1 disadvantage in the sense of you've got Camille on the outside and they ain't going to play fair. The whole purpose of this match is that it's a big main event epic. Mercedes Moné keeps trying to get in the Moneymaker submission on, I can't remember, is that what it's called now? I can't remember. But, the bank statement onto Bailey and can't get it in and can't get it in and can't get it in. She finally gets it in and Bailey grabs the ropes at the last minute, just grabs it. There's a ref bump. Camille tries to interfere. Bailey takes her out. Ref comes back in. Bailey grabs Mercedes into a hug. And then Bailey to bellies her. 1, 2. Kick out at 2 from Mercedes. The match won't end this way. And so Bailey, as part of the build to the story that would then lead into the match, in the very first match they ever had, one-on-one on NXT, Mercedes tapped out Bailey to the bank statement. So this time, Bailey locks in the bank statement Moneymaker on Monet, and realizing Monet has nowhere else to go, Monet taps and Bailey wins. And so it closes off the 10-year story, comes full circle. Bailey gets the win on Monet. And after the match, they hug because it's 4 horsewomen reunion, since you can never not have, I know it's not full 4 horsewomen, but Bailey and Monet reunion. And so you have this nice moment. Bailey celebrates, Monet leaves, and it is Bailey's moment to end the show. The decade-long rivalry coming to a head with Bailey getting the upper hand. That is my main event.
That would be awesome, no doubt about it. I mean, especially 10 years on, that would be perfect. Coby, what about you? What is your main event?
Well, my main event's obvious. I mean, I very much hinted it at the beginning what it is, but I mean, obviously, this is the match that writes itself again. It is Gunther versus Bryan Danielson, the current best wrestler in the world. It's Gunther versus one of the best wrestlers in the world of the last 20 years. It's Bryan Danielson. This is the match that can go 40 minutes. Arguably, this has that epic feel. This works technological wise. You have Danielson, who can very much still use athleticism, and that is a way to combat Gunther. Gunther has the power. Gunther has the technical aspect. Danielson has to move quick and has to get his moves in and has to get his dives and his drop kicks and his striking. They both have it. They both do it. It's brilliant counters, brilliant. Everything's going to be brilliant when you put these two men in the ring. And ultimately, Gunther's going to beat Bryan Danielson. If Danielson came back to WWE, this is the true passing of the torch. Is Danielson giving the win to the ring general Gunther.
Wow. Oh, wow. That would be incredible as well. Bobby Petito says it would be nice. Sean Ellis has banished Mercedes Moné from WWE. She'll be back. I'm sure of it at some point. DCX Warlord says, what brand are they going to represent? I think in this case, I think it is just, you're right. They're their own shows, isn't it?
It's
everyone's
DPW,
up for grabs.
David's Pro Wrestling. no, it's DDD. It's David's Delicious DDTs. We bring it back.
Everybody does DDTs all night long. But
there it is.
But I mean, you guys have come up with
I can
two
sense
great cards.
The tear coming from Drizzy's cheek as the prophecy has finally fulfilled from David using the DDT.
Right, guys, everybody in the comments, quickly comment who you think has the better card here, David or Coby. Comment it in the comments below. I want to get your thoughts, right? For me personally, this is just my personal opinion. It's really difficult. I'm going to be honest. I think on paper, Coby's got the better card. With the explanations, I think I prefer David purely because I think that would be an easier 5-match card to sit down and watch. Whereas with Coby's, it's non-stop singles match, great singles match. Then there's a tag match in there, but I think you might get a little burnt out. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'd pay a lot of money to see either of these cards. DCX Warlord is saying Coby's card is better. I mean, the rest of the comments, let me know your thoughts or post it on Instagram as well and see what they say. But we do have another comment here. It is from DCX Warlord, and we're going to get to that in just a second. But thank you, Coby. Thank you, David, for joining me here today. Tomorrow we will be back, same time, same place to talk. Mailbag Monday. Sending your questions via our Instagram stories. HWD says David takes it barely due to story, but straight wrestling, he take Coby. Bobby Batito says he would watch both shows. Absolutely. But on that note, guys, let's hand it over to DCX Warlord because peace. See you guys tomorrow.